want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Madmen of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Hey, it's the Madmen. We're back. What y'all doing?
Let me see here. We in here. I think we're in here.
We're in here.
Hey, we better be in here because I am Kirk M. Samuel.
And I am Jason B. King.
And we are the Madmen of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
For you.
For you.
For you.
Not for us, for you.
For you.
And tonight we have a extra special show tonight. This is going to be a one-off, one-of-a-kind, something that we've never done before, and it's a very special day for Mr. Kirk M. Samuel.
Hey, I need to clarify something, man. I'm a very private person,
yes.
Especially with the socials and the social medias and all that kind of stuff. If you go on my timeline, you won't see a whole lot of me being here, me being there, and you won't see a whole lot of, I'm out here, I'm out there. You won't see me doing my relationship thing all in public. I just don't put a lot of those things in. Quite honestly, even if you scroll back, you don't see a whole lot of family and just all those kinds of things on my social media. I mean, ironically, I tend to be kind of public on some aspects and very private on others. And so yeah, man. So this is kind of interesting. This is kind of different. Never actually. This is a first for us on the show. Definitely a first for me, obviously, as a result. So
don't worry, we're not going to be talking about his STD results or nothing like that.
Easy, man. Easy. Mind your business, man. Stay out of grown folks' business, man. I'm going to sue you for HIPAA violations.
But I had my mask on.
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
And my gloves.
Sure.
I used the alcohol stuff.
No, man. Stay out of my business, man. Stay out of my business, man. Why you gotta call me like that?
We're going to jump into his business here real quick.
Shout out to super producer Nikki Nicole doing her thing,
making us look good, making it sound better.
I lovingly call her Skittles. She's full of lively color. She's a ray of sunshine when she walks into the room, and so she makes us sound good when we air.
And no, you may not taste the rainbow.
No,
you must ask permission.
She's Skittles. We love her. So yeah, shout out Nikki. Shout out Crawford Broadcasting. Shout out everybody. Shout out you. If you're watching us right now, comment, share, all that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, if you go to the Madmen of Masculinity page on Facebook,
Madmen Radio,
while we're doing this live, then you can actually comment, and we will see your comments, and JBK will make you famous. He'll make you famous. He'll put you right up on the screen, man. So anyhow, back to the point at hand. So
why are we here?
This is kind of an interesting one, man. I have one son, and he, quite honestly, he's about to leave the nest, per se. He's about to go off and adventure onto his own life. He's about to go off and do his thing. We'll get into the details of that. But we decided, man, this might be a great opportunity for men to connect around what may be a common experience for a lot of men.
Yeah, and this is something that we all go through, leaving the nest, getting out of the house. Maybe if you're like us joining the military and going through basic, going through tech school, A school, maybe going to see the world, traveling to Europe. I went to Germany. These are things that all of us go through as men, coming into the world, becoming men. And so we decided to take that theme and kind of run with it, but in a very specific and special way.
Yeah, so without further ado, let us introduce the one and only Mr. Ricky, as we call him, RJ Samuels.
Welcome, RJ. Yeah.
So get close to that microphone when you talk. And yeah, you can see yourself here. So anyhow, we're right here in the studio, and I figured, we start off with, first of all, where were you born?
I was born here in Colorado, actually, and then I grew up over in Parker.
Right on. Nice. Born here in Colorado. What year were you born?
I was born in 2003.
Yeah, I knew all
2003.
Yeah,
all these people don't know you. So I just wanted to get into your story, man. You got a pretty interesting story. You're pretty transparent like me, ironically, almost to a fault. And so I kind of didn't even tell you what the plan was that I had. And just kind of put you on pot. And so that being said, so let's make you a person to people that don't know you. Did you have any loss early in life?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I'm actually adopted. So I got adopted when I was 6, but before that, I was with my biological family, and my mother passed away when I was about 5. My dad was just addicted to drugs and alcohol, so I lost him in a sense because, he just really wasn't in the picture, and he went to prison. That was shortly after I was put into foster care, and then I had siblings as well, and I never really got the opportunity to grow up with them because due to my father's choices and the loss of my mom at such a young age.
Yeah, man. That's so myself and my former spouse, at the time we were considering adoption, and I had 3 daughters. I had not had a son at that point, and so so I kind of said, hey, if we adopt, what do you think about adopting a boy? And she's like, cool. So we went through the whole process here locally through foster care with Arapahoe in Jefferson County. And then they we kind of went through all the stipulations. They brought up this picture of this little knucklehead kid, and they said, well, actually they don't use street pictures at first. They kind of tell you the circumstances and have you choose, and then all those kinds of things. And then we kind of went in, found all the information. We're like, yeah, we like to meet him. We like to start this process. And the very first thing we heard was that he asked if he can grow corn. We were like, what? So anyhow, it was a great whole experience, and maybe we'll get into that some other time. But this is about him today. So post adoption, you grew up where?
I grew up in Aurora, in the Denver area, and then in foster care. I was bouncing at first through different family members' houses, and then I went to foster care for probably a little bit over a year.
And then so where do we live post adoption? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Parker, and I've been there since.
Boom, right on. And so skip to the chase. Let's skip to some of the details here. And so let's skip to more recently. Quite honestly, you kind of had an up and down last couple of years. Talk a little bit about that in terms of schooling and where you were and all that kind of stuff. Your trek.
So let's see. Basically, middle school was super rough for me, and I've finished up with that obviously, and I went to high school, and I was too obsessed with making friends with the cool kids and fitting in with the cool crowd and things like that. And so I started to lose my way with my family and my real friends, that have been there for me. And I was just trying to fit in, and I started I was playing football, thinking I was cool. I love football, don't get me wrong, but it was also just for that friend piece too. And I just started going to parties, and I met these 2 older friends of mine, and they showed me how to be cool, and it was skipping class and going hanging out with friends, being in class and things like that. And I started getting off track, and eventually, I just got into a super bad habit, sneaking out of the house and things like that.
I don't think we know nothing about that. No, I don't think I ever went through that phase. No, I was squeaky clean the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
you ain't even clean right now, man. What you talking about?
I'll tell you what though, you talking about sneaking out of the house. I got caught sneaking out of the house at 11 years old, sneaking down to 7-Eleven play games in the middle of the night. So don't feel bad.
Yeah,
don't feel bad. We all go through it. We all have our ups and down moments, and it's those downs and backups that are what make you who you are, what get you where you're going. But so.
And so where did that lead you?
So then one day, just me and my mom, we got into an argument, and I ended up just leaving the house. And because when things happened, I went to my sister's house or my aunt's house, and I stayed there for the rest of my junior year. And even there, I was still skipping class and things like that. And then my aunt and uncle stepped up, and they flew me up to Georgia, and I went to Georgia, and I stayed there for the first half of my senior year. And basically, they were just I'm trying to think of the word. It's not strict, but
Structured.
Yeah, very structured. It's provided me with a bunch of structure. I wasn't really hanging out with friends, or really wasn't going out too much. And I could probably count on my finger the amount of times I went out and hung out with my friends. But
you're about to get some structure now. I'm tell you what.
Oh yeah. But they installed a bunch of like good morals and values for me. Like they helped me like learn some things and some life lessons, really, like between managing money, opening a savings account, and it's so, but and just being able to like stay focused. They were able to show me my like true potential. Like I ended up doing very good in school, and I was getting good grades, and yeah, we still like had our little arguments. I didn't want to do my homework down again, but
And how long were you there?
So I was there for about 6 months. I came back to Colorado in December. So but I left Colorado originally in June, late June.
And then when you came back, where'd you go to school?
I went to Eagle Academy, and that's where I finished up my last like semester of school.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing really good. It was like, super good. I ended up getting 2 scholarship awards there, and I got the honor award. And then that's also when I ultimately just decided what I want to do for my career.
Yeah.
Look what a little structure got you. Just a little bit of structure, and he's on the honor roll. He got some scholarships. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and that's maybe we'll talk about that here coming up after the break. But we kind of have that journey. A lot of us go on that journey, and in that it's a metaphorical journey, but sometimes it's a literal journey into going into the wilderness and coming out the other side, and all the things that we learn and all the things that we take forward and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so when you went to Atlanta and then decided you wanted to come back to Colorado, just super quick, what was the logic behind you coming back to Colorado and your process to do that?
So basically, it was like a little bit of like I missed home, but then it was also like my uncle made me super confident. My aunt and uncle made me super confident in myself, and like I was able to like just know that I'm capable of anything I put my mind to. It's not just mom and dad telling me this. It's real. And so it was also like a chance for me to be able to prove to people that like, hey, I got this. Like I'm able to achieve anything. So it was hard. It was like a hard decision for sure. But it was also like something for me to prove to myself, and then for me to prove to others. And it's not even about proving it. It's just like for me.
Mm-hmm. And then you found a school here. You got all set up and all those kinds of things. Got your driver's license, all that.
Right.
And so, would you say the motivation was more so for yourself or for other people?
If I'm being honest, it was for other people. Just because like I felt like a failure. To be honest, I felt like I was like the black sheep in the family, or like the bum, and I was not. I just didn't want that title, and so it was just I was just trying to prove it to people that I could do it.
Boom. Well, speaking of proving that you can do it, we're gonna do something right now.
We better do something.
Yeah, we better do something. We better do something. We're gonna take a little break, pause for the cause. You know what I'm saying? Well, we will absolutely be right back on KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City. Mad Men of Masculinity. We will be right back. Boom.
See, so what had happened was,
sure enough. Oh yeah, and I did. Hey, if you're watching this right now, won't you do what I just did? Hit share.
hit share, like
Hit share, like and subscribe that bad boy. All those kind of good things.
I know we got this knucklehead with his funny looking hat on, but like and share with your friends. I think we got some. We got a good path we're taking on this one, I believe.
No doubt. Good stuff, man. Are you ready to?
I will bring us back in. Pause. And we're back.
We're back.
Masculinity, baby, on KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City. And today, not only is it Kirk and I, but we also have Mr. Ricky Samuels in the studio. What's going on, Miss Ricky?
How's it going? Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. And so, like I said, man, I think you have a pretty interesting story, period. And I think, in my opinion, that kind of leads a lot up to what's next. And so, we're just talking about just kind of your path over the last year and a half, 2 years with school and other people and friends and all that other kind of stuff. And so, at what point did you decide, here recently that you kind of wanted to take a certain direction in life?
So, can you rephrase that question?
So when you came back, or maybe it was before you came back here to Colorado, you decided you wanted to go do something. I mean, at what point did you decide you want to go do something? Whatever that thing is, we'll get into that here in a second.
So yeah, it started when I was in Georgia. We were brainstorming ideas of like what I could do when I graduated, like college. I'm really into like nature and plants and stuff. So like we were looking at jobs for that, welding, just trade schools and things like that. And none of them were really sticking with me. And like I definitely am going to college at some point. But like right now, I'm just like, I don't want to go to college yet. Like, a little break. But I know like if I took a gap year, I probably would never end up going because I would have got too comfortable. So I don't know. One day I was just sitting in my room and I was just watching TV or whatever I was doing, and I was just thinking. And I remember like when I was younger, when the adoption process first started, I always had to go to therapy for some reason, or I forget why. But they would ask me, "What do you want to be when you're older?" And my answer was always a Navy SEAL, and that like. I barely even knew what it was, and I remember I would tell my dad, I want to be a Navy SEAL, and just he showed me videos, and I was still like, oh well, I still want to do it. And then I was just brainstorming. I love medical. I got a lot of family that's in the medical field, and I was just thinking like, what can I do? And so months were going by, time was taking graduation was coming closer, and I was working at assisted living. And I got like a little promotion and I started doing Q mapping, which is like I hand out meds. And that's like really what opened my eyes to like the medical field. And so I like developed a relationship with all the residents there. And I was like, this is definitely something I can see myself doing and like advancing and like going even deeper into it. And so then I was like, all right, so how do I combine like hands-on and medical? And like, I just don't want to be behind a desk. And so then I was like, what if I go into the Navy? Because like I can swim, I can travel the world at a young age. I'll still like sort of retrieve my goals. And
was that a Freudian slip? He's gonna achieve his goals.
And so then I just somehow like I got a DM in my Instagram, and it was from Petty Officer Adair, and who is now my petty officer. But she was like, "Hey, are you interested in joining the Navy?" And I was like, "Well, what are the odds? Like, they're definitely listening." And I just responded. I was like, "Yeah." And so I went down to the office. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my parents or nothing. And we just started talking. And then after that, I discovered what a Navy corpsman is. And basically, it's between infantry and medical. And so I was like, yeah, this is something I can see myself doing. And I prayed about it and just kept popping up over the others. And then that's when I talked to you or my dad. And
me.
Yeah.
Who is you?
Yeah.
You, Daddy?
And that's really what like got me to where I wanted to go in the Navy.
Yeah. And then and so when you went into I'm straight ball hogging JBK.
Well, I know this, but I'm gonna let you roll with it for a minute.
But yeah, and so I mean I know some of the story, a little bit of it maybe. The whole idea of going into the Navy and being a corpsman and those kind of things. I mean, do you know that can be one of the most dangerous jobs in terms of, most Medal of Honor winners or, Navy corpsmen and that sort of stuff? I mean, in terms of what they do?
Yeah, so I'm well aware of like the risks, but I'm also aware of like the benefits. Like it'll help me achieve something that I've always felt like I've been missing. So like for me, at a young age, I saw my father be abusive, do drugs, drink alcohol, beat up on my mom. And for a long time, I was just scared of the dark because I remember my father would pound on the door and he'd say like just terrible things.
You're talking about your biological father?
Yeah, my biological father. My bad.
Not this guy right here.
Yeah, and it scared me to death. And I remember I've always just been so scared. And this is like, for me, it's something that I can see myself how to be the very opposite to me, my biological father was hurting people and he wasn't being good. And so ever since like that day, I've always just wanted to be the very opposite. And this is my ticket.
Yeah.
I could be a hero, and I mean, if I end up sacrificing my life, I'll know I'm doing the right thing. And at the end of the day, like, I'll be happy, you know?
Well, and I mean, that's probably not the outcome that will happen, although,
Yeah.
it's good to have that awareness that this is a possibility, though. What you just said is very similar to one of our recent episodes talking about purpose and looking back on your past and seeing this is what I experienced and this is what made me afraid. And these are the things that are maybe traumatic events that I dealt with. And now I can use those events to guide my life to my purpose in life of, like for you being a Navy corpsman and helping to save other lives and to help other people be less afraid. Because I guarantee you, when you are called to action, those men are going to be terrified, and you're going to be that angel, that white light that comes down to rescue them and save them and probably save their life. And so coming from your background and having that experience with, your father scaring you and making you afraid of the dark, and now using that as your onus and direction for your purpose in life. I mean, that's something we've talked about, and you're now proof positive that this is a great way to find your purpose as a man, to look back at your life and go, what scared me? What are the traumatic events in my life? And how can I use that to make the world a better place?
Right.
When do you leave a boot camp?
So I'm actually leaving tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
1 p.m. I'll be heading down to the MEPS and then the hotel, and then I'll wake up at 4:30 on Wednesday, head to the airport, and then straight to Chicago.
So by the time this airs, which secret let out, we record this during the week, and then it's edited, and then it airs on Saturday mornings and Wednesday evenings. But you won't even hear this when it airs live. You'll have to wait a couple months to actually hear the final version. We'll save it for you, though. It'll be out there.
We'll send you the MP3. We'll make sure you get to hear it.
It'll be out there. But the fact is, man, you about to bounce.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts now? You about to leave?
I'm ready. I'm nervous. I'm very scared. Don't get me wrong, but like it's also like a part of me that's like, you know what? Like, let's do it. Like it's go time. It's time to like represent my last name and become a man. Like, So.
Now, on that same question, since I could be the moderator and in this father-son conversation, how are you feeling, Kirk, as he's getting ready to leave the nest and join manhood?
Kind of heavy, kind of heavy, to be honest with you. And I don't, maybe it's a touch point for other men as well. We do the best we can, I think, as guys to be a man. And then, especially when it comes to like a son, right? Like, I love all my kids equally, but I love them differently at the same time. And yeah, so when I didn't have a son, this guy became my son, right? And then we, even through all of my deficiencies, just over the past 12, 13 years, like, okay, I'm going to at least do the best that I can. And being there, being present, and a lot of things that I wish I would have had, just trying to be that and do that, but then also not knowing what to do, and just having that experience. And so yeah, I mean, I don't have another son. My brother doesn't have a son, and so at this point, there's only one male with last name Samuels for the next generation. And so yeah, I mean, it's kind of a heavy feeling, but kind of good. But still, I mean, to be totally honest, I always say, like, he's my biggest fan. In terms of, he actually likes being around me a lot. And likes coming over, and
You keep telling him that lie?
all that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of, like, you train them to go kill the woolly mammoths and prove their manhood and come back. And then when they do, then it's like, okay, all right, now you made it. And, I've told him this. I've had some of these direct conversations, but as proud as I am of him unconditionally, like we didn't accomplish anything else or anything more, it would definitely be a very proud moment, to be at a graduation and to see that accomplishment. And, you want to raise them to do things, but then you also want to be able to celebrate when they actually accomplish those things that you hopefully raise them to do. So
yeah, and this is a great point for the guys listening, and even for the ladies listening, that it's very difficult when you've been in that position of parent, you've been in that position of doing the best you can to prepare this child, this man, for the world. But at some point, you gotta let him go. And now he's on his own, and you're there for backup and support. But this young man has to now go out and be a man and start to learn those lessons, and hopefully you've given him enough that he doesn't make a lot of the same mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
Though that comes from how we teach them and train them and how much we share about ourselves. But it's not, as much as it's a wonderful, proud moment, it's painful to go, I'm getting the secondhand kind of goose flesh from him having to say, all right, son, time for you to go and be a man in the world.
Yeah. And then you kind of have the last little bit of like, man, I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to tell you that, I'm going to show you this, show you that. We all three of us, and went to the range yesterday, went shooting and all that kind of stuff, and just different things like that, and just kind of the last bit of wisdom. And so, but it's definitely, the best word I could come up with is heavy.
Well, and as we're going to take a little break here shortly, but when we get back, we're going to kind of throw it over to Ricky, Mr. RJ Samuels, and see what questions he has for us as the old dogs who may have some wisdom to hand out to him. Because at this point, we can throw stuff at him, but it may not stick. Maybe he can just ask us what he wants to know.
Yeah, because you do. I mean, as men, you do pass that down to the next generation, kind of thing, and you do almost pass the torch to them to go do something. I mean, I'm at this point, I'm almost 4 years older than my father was when he died, which was the same age as his father, which was the same age as his father. So to be able to outlive them and to be able to take that and advance the torch, further down the legacy chain is pretty key and pretty crucial. But so yeah, I mean, it's a reflective kind of moment. Like I said, hopefully, if any other guys have either been there or are there or about to be there, hopefully it can be something you relate to. And so let's relate to a break. What do you think?
Relate to that break.
'Cause I'm gonna need me a box of tissue.
Yep. We're going to take a break. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC, 1220 a.m. in the Mile High City. We'll be right back.
Boom. That was good stuff.
Put that phone away, man.
That was good
We're in the
stuff.
studio, man.
That was good stuff.
You gotta listen to grandma. They
Always.
will tell you things, and you're like, whatever, grandma. And then later on, you're like, she was right.
I
Man.
whatever.
Sure enough.
How you doing, man? I got tissues over here. You need them?
I'm cool.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna put it right there for you. Just make sure you're all right. Make sure my man's taken care of.
Yeah. Word up. All right, you want to bring us back?
Yeah. And we're back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC, 1220 a.m. in the Mile High City. We are here, myself, Kirk M. Samuels, and Mr. Ricky Samuels.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me not to say Ricky Smiley.
Yeah.
I mean, he smiles a lot,
Yeah.
but he's not Ricky Smiley.
Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
That's what they call me.
That's what they call me. Ricky, my name.
How much you paying to call you that? though?
Yeah. Ricky's my name.
Make sure I stay on camera. I keep looking over at him.
So man, he's headed out to boot camp, man, and
Gonna be a Navy corpsman.
going to be a Navy corpsman.
So why didn't you even look at the Air Force? I mean, just
he ain't no sucker.
Yeah.
Maybe come across his
He ain't no
desk
chump.
talking about Mr.
He ain't no
Coast Guard
chump. He
over
wanted
there.
to do something for a living.
Remember how I said I don't want to sit behind a computer?
I got you. I almost never sat behind a computer. I was always under the jet playing with bombs.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
So, as we were alluded to before the break, Mr. Ricky Samuels, RJ to those that know him, as you're heading into Navy boot camp and you're leaving the nest and you're going out into the world, we, as some of your elder men, would like to impart whatever we can to you, but we may not know what you need or what you're even curious about. So ask us questions and we'll throw whatever wisdom we have at you.
Well, so what made you guys decide that you wanted to go into the military?
Well, for me, it was kind of a family thing. Both my parents are Army, and I had spent 4 years from, I think it was 8th grade to 10th grade, or was it 7th grade? 7th grade to 10th grade in Nuremberg, Germany, at the DoD high school there. And then my dad got stationed in Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama, and going from southern Germany to northern Alabama was a bit of a culture shock. So when all my ASVAB stuff came back and I started getting all the letters in, I told the Army recruiter, I'm like, man, just send me back to Germany and I will drive a tank. I don't care. And my dad got wind of that. He's like, you know what? I know you better than you think I know you. So he called the Air Force recruiter and had him set up an appointment. And I went to talk to him. Then was like, yeah, this feels more right. This feels like I would fit in better with the Air Force. And so I went. The funny thing was, I got in right after the tech school used to be here in Lowry. Then they moved it down to Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas. And so there's this big gap where they didn't have any weapons troops. So I got to get my first duty assignment choice and my airframe choice. So I went right back to Germany and worked on F-16s. So that was how I ended up getting into it. How about you, Mr. Samuel?
And I just saw that scene at the end of Top Gun where the Coast Guard came in and they rescued Maverick and Goose. And I was like, I want to be in the Coast Guard, man. I want to go rescue people and do stuff. And so yeah, I mean, that honestly, that was kind of the thing that started it for me. And then, yeah, I ended up getting, a scholarship through the Coast Guard and stuff like that. And after I went to boot camp, got the scholarship, did college, did officer candidate school, and then it was cool. And I got to do some pretty cool things and see the world and see some different things and just the experience with that lifestyle was like a little bit. And so yeah, that was the kind of thing that was the thing that prompted me to go. But and there's that sense of calling, there's that sense of purpose. Like, I want to do something with my life. And I respect you that you when you said you didn't want to just go to college just to be going to college. And I think a lot of times kids in your generation can get kind of pressured and pushed to go that route just because that's the next best thing to do. And then they end up 4 years later with nothing to show for it other than $100K in debt. And that's cool if that's part of somebody's career plan and career path. But I think there's different options out here. And so, in your case, getting medical training and all that kind of stuff. In your case, getting the GI Bill. In your case, when you're done, and then in your case, being able to maybe get further training, once you're in the Navy and do all those kinds of things. I think that's awesome, and I think that's perfect opportunity and a perfect example of maybe you don't have to follow the path that a lot of other people follow. Maybe there's a different path or calling for your life, and what that is, we'll find out ultimately. But at this point, man, you can do 20 years and retire at 39, and you're gonna get a check for the rest of your life. On top of starting a whole new career.
Yeah, now I know at your age, 39 feels like old and long ago. Let me tell you something. Those 20 years go by so fast. Quick. Like, I think about now being 46, like, I could have an Air Force retirement. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, when I got out, I was doing, when I was on OPCs. We're doing operates to provide comfort in between the two Gulf Wars. So I didn't have to do any like real awful stuff. So I had stayed in 20 years. So, I go back and forth, but thinking about that retirement paycheck, that would have been a good thing.
Yeah. And so ultimately, as you kind of go in there, the military is basically set up. I mean, for the most part, it's about performance. And it's about, there's a time when, in life where you fit in, and then there's a time where you need to stand out. And so, at this point, going into this phase you're going into now from a military perspective, now it's time to stand out, meaning, it's time to do your thing, to make your path, to perform. A lot of times you get the best choice when you graduate at the top of whatever class. You get first choice. And so it's a matter of where you want to get stationed, what do you want to do after that. And so it's about performance. And there's a lot of knuckle draggers, a lot of bottom feeders that'll be in there chilling just for the paycheck. And, they'll be okay. They need somebody to peel potatoes and wash dishes. And so if you want to be that sucker, then they'll let you. But if you want to excel and achieve, man, there's all kinds of ways to do that. But it's about that initiative, and it's about making a name for yourself. It's about excelling, and it's about, it's a performance-based structure.
Yeah, and one thing that I wish I had known, I wish I'd asked the question when I went in, was that once you're in, it's not like your day jobs or the jobs you had as a teenager. When you clock out or when you take the uniform off, you are still in service. You are still a corpsman. So one of the mistakes I made, especially going from being in high school in Germany and learning all my bad habits in the pubs and beer houses there, and then going away for 2 years and then coming right back, I didn't make the correlation that this is a very different situation, that now I'm in the Air Force as a 19-year-old man back in Germany. So when I took off my uniform, I thought, well, I'm just a 19-year-old kid. I'm going to go out and party and do dumb things. And then they care. I tell you, they care about the dumb things you do. So keep that in mind as you're making your way into your life as enlisted, Navy man. That once you're in, and you want to always keep that in mind. Somebody's always watching, and whatever you do, make sure it's on the up and up.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, from that perspective, I mean, have you given any thought to any of that kind of stuff? I mean, at this point, we're imparting wisdom, but what are your reflections on that?
Honestly, I'm just like going with the flow. Like I'm not expecting anything, but I'm also not expecting anything. So I'm ready to fully embrace everything that happens and experience it for myself.
Nice. Well, it is good too to have an idea of like, okay, I'm going in to be a corpsman, but am I going in to be the best corpsman? Am I going in to be like, do you still have dreams of being like a Navy SEAL corpsman or something like that? I mean, those are the things where you want to kind of aim for, because that'll guide your path. Because if you're just going in like, well, I'm here, then I know in my situation I knew what job I wanted, or at least where I wanted to go. But without having kind of like, I have a goal to shoot for, you can kind of get lost in the mix, because there's gonna be a lot of guys in basic, a lot of guys in A school, a lot of other people there. And so if you're not on a path and going, hey, you know, whoever my teacher is, this is I want to ask you a question about this, or how can you guide me this way? Your instructors will definitely guide you if you ask them.
Yeah.
Have no fear. Just make sure that you're like, okay, I have a goal and I want to go in this direction. Even if you don't get it, going that direction is going to be the next step and the next path that's going to lead you ultimately to your ultimate goal.
And it is about initiative. It is about that. Like I said, you can surely, though, you know, you can go do the minimum and then go sit play PlayStation back wherever you at, you know, indefinitely and all that kind of stuff. But it is, you know, man, initiative means a whole lot. Like, I'm willing to do maybe a little bit extra. I'm willing to pursue this. I want to pursue that. I want to go to school for this. I want to go to school for that. I want to learn this. I want to whatever it is. But a lot of it is initiative. And like I said, though, you know, I mean, the world eats people at the bottom. And a lot of times, especially on the man sphere, we get a choice of whether we want to be on the bottom or whether we want to, you know, excel or do more, be more, or get more. And so it comes down to initiative.
Yeah. What other questions might you have, sir? Young man.
I don't really have any right now.
Yeah. Well, that's not what we want you to say. This is radio show, man. You gotta come up with something.
You know, and nowadays, which we didn't have however many years ago, now there's YouTube, right? So, you know, so there's people all the time that post all kinds of stuff about what boot camp is like, and people that were in boot camp and tell you what this and that. So there's a lot of info that you can actually get before you even go and almost know what to expect. I've never been to Navy boot camp, but I already know what happens where and how it happens and all that kind of stuff just because of that. But there's something about it. I think most, you know, in some countries, every 18-year-old has to go into the military. I think there's something beneficial about the experience of, and everybody that's ever done it will remember that moment when that bus pulls onto the base and the radio or TV or whatever goes down silent, and you pull up to that building and you hear the from the brakes of that bus. Everybody, and they're all giggling right now, whoever remembers it, remembers that moment where you pull up in front of whatever building that is, and them brakes hiss out on that bus. And there's that moment of
once that door opens,
I'm telling you,
instructor gets on that bus.
So there's something about that though that's a pivotal moment in life, man, and it just changes you. And so, you know, man, it's like, you know, then you experience the experience, man. They're not going to kill you. You know, they're going to feed you 3 times a day.
I think they're trying to kill you,
right.
But they're not really trying to kill you.
You know, but at the same time, you grow. You know, in the beginning when nobody knows nothing and you get in trouble and it's all about just yelling and push-ups or whatever. And then it begins to make sense, and then you begin to get better, and then ultimately, you know, they stop yelling as much, and then, you know, then pretty soon you got it together. Your class, a group, whatever you want to call it, a division, a company, a platoon, whatever. And then you get to graduate. You get to experience what that experience is like. And so it's a process of the journey, man. I think it's fantastic for young folks, especially young men.
Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I could give you, because I don't know that anybody ever says it, but be as present as you can be and take it all in, because so much is going on so fast. And 2 months seems like a long time where I have to get out of high school. It goes by so quick, and some of the best friends you're going to have in your life are going to be the guys you go through basic and A school and that you train with and that you're stationed with. So take it in, try to be as present as you can be, let the rest of the world go. Like, you're going to be isolated. You're going to be in basic. You're going to be in this kind of butter churner that, they're going to put you through and this crucible. Be as present as you can be, because those will be some of the best memories. And like anything else, every veteran I talk to probably would never say they want to go back to basic, but they're glad they went through basic.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it, man. And it's something too, earning that DD 214, man, you know, and the benefits that come out of that, all the respect that you get from serving and being a veteran and all those kinds of things and the experiences that you get, the training, there's something to that. And so learning all that is awesome, man. We did that rite of passage, a year or two ago. And man, that a lot of that, it was just about that. It was about earning that whole thing. And so, and speaking of earning,
we need to earn some fun.
Let's earn something, man. Let's earn some time. Let's earn a break, man. I ain't even got a drink up in here, nothing.
No drinks?
I ain't got
All right, we're going to take a break
Parched.
so Kirk can get a drink, and we're going to pay some bills. Mad Men and Masculinity on KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile City. We'll be right back. You want to? Here, I'll share that with
No, I'm good.
I didn't want you to spit in my drink anyway.
I was just being
See how ungrateful he is?
Yeah,
See
I'm
how he
very
do me?
ungrateful.
Trying to share my drink with him.
There's something that comes with suffering, man. Suffering is
You
important.
want some suffering cotton mouth.
I think suffering is important, man. I think suffering is huge. Boom.
You go ahead and suffer with your cotton mouth
Yeah.
up there.
This is
Dragon breath. I'm glad you're on the other side of the table.
for reals. Segment 4. Boom.
Are you ready? And we're back. Mad
We're
Men
back.
Masculinity on KLDC,
We're back.
12:20 AM in the Mile High City. If Nicole looks bored, we better do something good.
Yeah, we better entertain. We need to dance in here, tap dance or something like that, man.
Tap dancing.
We need to entertain her. She's in there just sitting around in the chair, just doing her thing, just
I
listening.
guess that's a producer's life. I don't know about all that.
Man, I'm about to send this guy off to boot camp.
Who is this guy?
This guy's
Let's recap.
he's my son. He's my only son. He's the only, as far as we know, male Samuels of the next generation. And at this point, he to some degree represents legacy for me. I want to in advance thank the Navy for what they're about to do. I hope they beat him up. I told him that. I
Whoop him
hope
up real
they
good.
kick his butt. And I hope they advance his journey into manhood. He's already a man, but he's literally tomorrow heading up to the hotel tomorrow night, and then flying out Wednesday to head to Great Lakes, Illinois, for Navy boot camp, man. And
I'm so sorry you got to go to Illinois for boot camp.
Well, this is a good time of year to go, man. Here in the fall.
That's true.
It's a good time to go in the fall, and then he'll get to go to San Antonio, Texas for corpsman school. And so San Antonio is a great place to be in the wintertime.
Yeah, no, that's a good place. That's actually where I did my basic, was at Lackland in San Antonio, and of course I went in August because I'm smart.
Yeah,
but wintertime is good there. You're gonna have a good old time.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, at this point, as a man, like I said, touch point, I'm kind of handing him off to I don't know, to life, to legacy, to the Navy, to his calling and his purpose, and it's a little bit bittersweet. It's a little bit bittersweet, because I love him. I love him a lot. I love him a whole lot. And I respect him. I mean, we've had these conversations, but I respect him as a man. He's a great guy, as you've heard just even here in this interview. He's a great guy, and sometimes he's so great that he's gotten away with stuff because he's personable and he's gotten away with the charm factor throughout the course of his life. Unfortunately, you can't charm division. His RDCs in boot camp. They don't care. Them red ropes go around there. They're gonna chew you up. So I'm kind of glad that. But either way, man, he's a great man. RJ, you are a great man. And like I said, I love you and I'm gonna miss you. I say, I graduated boot camp. I left to go to boot camp. I graduated Friday from high school, and Monday I was going to go to boot camp, and I was 18. And since then, I haven't lived back in DC since. Obviously been back, but I haven't lived back there since. And so part of it is for me the reflection that you might be from Denver, but you may or may not live in Denver again. And so we won't necessarily see you, on holidays and that kind of stuff, every holiday or whatever. And that's part of it too. Part of it is just being gone. Part of being in the military is, spending holidays, away from family and that kind of stuff. But either way, I believe you have everything you need to do everything you're called to do. Now being that, it's like just releasing you into what that journey looks like for you, and having you figure that out. Hopefully helping you. Hopefully, ideally, anything that I've done has helped you to avoid as many potholes as possible, and avoiding landmines as possible, and especially dumb stuff that I did. I mean,
well, remember, they do let you use the phone. Yeah. You can do email and things like that, so you can. If there's one of those choices where you're like, maybe give us a shout and ask us, because we might be able to save you a whole lot of grief. I know I made enough mistakes for both of us, and I'm sure Kirk can say the same. So we can help you out and help you keep going. I know you're going to have a lot of support. You're going to have a lot of structure around you. But, those of us back here who love you and want to make sure you do well, give us a shout, especially if you got some challenges, because we've been there, we've done that. There's going to be some times where you're like, why the hell did I sign up for this mess?
Yeah.
And we can get you through that, because they're going to break you down to build you up. And when going through that sometimes is less than pleasant, but knowing the outcome will help you get through it.
But, and again, like I've said it before, I'll continue to say it. I'm proud of you, proud of the man that you are and the man that you become, and prouder of the man that you're going to be, because you're not there yet. And, a couple weeks ago, several weeks ago, matter of fact, I gave you practical advice. Don't get locked up, don't get anybody knocked up. And just in terms of this journey that you're at, and you are quite honestly going to go into boot camp with a buddy, and turns out, he had some radioactive substances that came out of his body that triggered some toxicity results. And so, you made the choice, and it was a reality that you got to go at it on your own. And, but like I said, you're going to get there. There's going to be a bunch of other people that's their day one as well. By the end of that 10 weeks, you're going to know them very well. But you are a leader. And like I said, you have everything that you need for everything that you're being called to.
So anything on your mind, sir, young man? Anything coming up for you?
I don't know. It's just starting to get super real, and it's you always love that feeling when your dad's like just giving you advice and telling you his feelings, and like just telling you how much he loves you, and like that's something like you always remember. And I mean, you too, Mr. Jason, you've been a great figure for me as well, and you've always just provided so much like wisdom and just helped me like understand that I have choices, and like I always have you guys like in my corner, and I'm able to fall back on y'all if I need any help or advice, and you're like coaches, I'm on the field right now with the ball.
Well, and that's what makes us feel good about this, because neither one of us really had that sort of support that you're getting now, and I don't think I was proud of you until many years past the time that I would really like to have heard that. So to be able to take what we didn't get and be able to give that and share that forward is a huge blessing for us. So we're just really happy that we get to have this opportunity with you, because I would have given anything to have this sort of kind of send off. For me, it was basically like, all right, I graduated, I left my dad's house, I went to my mom's house to visit her a month. Then I'm getting on the bus and going to basic.
Yeah. So
there was no sort of like fanfare or anything. There's no, I'm proud of you, I'm glad you're going that way. It was just, all right, see you.
Yeah. I've said this before too, that, especially when we had a conversation about purpose, the only thing that when you're going, the only thing that won't ever be somebody else's is your legacy. And so, somebody else may have your kids, your spouse, your house, your money, all your stuff. Your dog might call somebody else, dad at some point. But nobody else can ever have your legacy. And your legacy is something that you live out, something that you walk out, something that you make on a daily basis going forward. Some people's legacy is something that their family is not proud of. And so as you go forward and as you go out there, when you have those days of why am I doing this, or this sucks, and man, this is terrible, I want to get out of here. That's your legacy, man, and that's your calling, and you have nothing to prove to me or any of us, your family. It's about proving for yourself, to yourself, and carving out your path, your legacy in life. And so that's huge, and that's important to remember.
Yeah, and as long as you follow your heart and you just follow the things that make you light up and empower you, and it feels like it's your purpose, we're always going to be proud of whichever way you're going. As long as you're happy and fulfilled in wherever life takes you, You know, you don't have to worry about us. We'll always be here to support, and we'll be proud of you because we know you're following your heart. You're an amazing young man that's going and going to do great things. I've already done great things, but going to do even greater things in the world. And so, don't necessarily do things for anybody else but you. Follow your heart, follow that purpose, and you will find that will lead you pretty much right the whole way.
Yeah, things just generally tend to fall in place when you follow your purpose, when you follow the reason why you were created. You've had a tough life, tough story, in terms of your early childhood. That being said, you grew up most of your life in Parker, Colorado. There's worse places to live, and so you God's been looking out for you, and there's a reason why. And so, there's a lot of people that come from foster care go straight into the prison system. For some reason, you were spared from that. So there must be a why. And so following your why, following your legacy, all the other stuff is generally going to fall in place. Relationships, kids, family, happiness, all those kinds of things, man. That will definitely fall into place. And like I said, you got a squad back here cheering you on and all those kinds of things. And so yeah, man. If there's any guys out there that can relate, man, any guys that can relate to sending off your next generation, sending off your legacy to make theirs, we're in this together, man. And a lot of us as guys, we don't know necessarily what we're doing in terms of having a great example. But we do the best we can, and we hope. I know most guys hope that that they had a son like you that is choosing his path and going out and doing his right thing and is someone to be proud of. So in the next couple minutes, quite honestly, I'm kind of compelled to end this show in a way that may not be palatable to everybody, but it's something that I need to do.
Okay.
And that is to pray for my son.
Absolutely.
God, I thank you for RJ, and I thank you for who he is. And I just thank you for watching over him, and I just pray that you would continue to protect him and guide him and lead him. Let him know he's loved and let him know he's cared for, and just God, make his path straight. You have a calling on his life, and so I just I just pray that you would make that calling loud and clear for him and give him everything he needs. And I just commission him to you, give him over to you. And I just ask this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well,
Madman out.
I guess that's it, folks. We're out of here. We love you. We'll see you next time.
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We might even still like you later.